Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Oh, good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, from the USS Rapapa. Leaving port is the Topic Thunder, the Thunderdome. You're the Thunderheads. I'm Brooks. Oh man, I right out of the gate again.
I feel like I have deja vu, Brooks. There's a sense of deja vu. I don't know what it's from.
Man, I had it right that the time before it was a YouTube exclusive.
Yeah, for about a minute and a half, we were on YouTube only, and then I realized, fuck. So here we are, a little bit late start. Sorry.
But you know the drill. It is the USS Rapapa Topic Thunder. We're gonna skip we're gonna actually segue right into the phone lines have been blowing up, and everybody wants to know what this Tournament of Kissable Faces is all about. So we just kind of talked about it right before the show and kind of figured it out. We're gonna take about 8 names. We're not gonna take a whole lot of thought into this. We're gonna do that flash guerrilla style. Hello, everybody. Kind of tournament that we do interspliced throughout the conversations that we have all evening long. So again, folks, we're just taking about 8 names. I think, Ben, we said 8 names for the tournament. And again, just kissable faces. I guess have to be romantic. I guess Ben brought up a good point. Like if you like Bernie Sanders or you like that kind of like that grind, like sure, cool. Let's just get wild and weird and 8 kissable faces. You know what? And let's present company excluded. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I happen to believe Kate Beckinsale has a very kissable face.
There you go. That's a good one. I would throw out there Margot Robbie as another very kissable face. So just if you're asking my personal opinion of the female species, other than my beautiful wife Adrienne, yeah. So apparently, we are having issues with. We are not currently on Facebook, so we are just on Twitch and YouTube currently, and that's kind of where we want it anyway, right? So. This is maybe our maiden voyage where those of us that are looking for it on Facebook, hopefully we'll migrate over. And I'm going to post on my page too to remind everybody.
Yeah, please do, because you can find us on Twitch at Topic Thunder Podcast. That's also on Instagram, the Topic Thunder Podcast, and Facebook. I guess we can't get rid of it, but we can certainly not focus on it. But just Topic Thunder Podcast. We try to do the same kind of Thunderbolt logo right now as a placeholder in lieu of something else. But yeah, you folks can email us at the Topic Thunder. Whoa, hello. Hi.
Yeah, no, sorry.
No, it's cool. So get those votes in. Let's start talking about it. We already have an upvote for Robbie, so you already got one on there for that. Yeah. But while we're doing that, let's take a spin on over to Gigi's Mixology Lab and find out what the good lady has cooked up for us this evening, and have ourselves a drink while we're talking about kissable faces on this Valentine's Day here in 2022. Check this out. She made me this for the show.
Ooh, that was delicious.
There's like 2 layers of color going on. That's not like that's like a little bit lighter down at the bottom, a little bit lighter. So there might be some, there's definitely a strawberry on top there, and good Lord. All right, we're going to give this a shot. While Ben furiously figures out what the Facebook situation is, we're going to have a cheers and a toast to not only Valentine's Day, but to good cheer and kissable faces. So let's get some more names up there. I'm trying to figure out what this beverage is right now. So here we go. Okay. That's got some bite. That is definitely, wow. That's like, wow, it's got a lot of bite. Like a sour dry. Like you ever have? I don't think that's in there because I think I know it's in the pantry. But you ever have like real cranberry juice?
Yes, I love cranberry juice.
Yeah, it's pretty potent, right? And if you're just used to the Ocean Spray version, you've got another thing coming because that's an eye opener right there.
Yes, for sure.
That's like, I know what whiskey is. Oh, here's scotch. Holy shit, that's a whole different level of flavor. That has a little bit of that gripping on at the end here. Is this the Chambord? Is there Chambord in here?
Chambord. What? I wonder what that is. What's Chambord? I've never heard of that.
It's called the Devil's Margarita. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
it's the mezcal. No Chambord.
No Chambord. That sounds very much like Rochambeau. No Chambord.
No Chambord for you.
Rochambeau.
That's the mezcal then for sure.
Mezcal. That's mezcal is like the super tequila, right? If I remember correctly.
It's well, speaking of scotch, it is the scotch to like regular whiskey that is tequila. That's what mezcal is. It has a smoky like flavor to it.
Zoe Kravitz gets a vote on the Kissable.
Zoe Kravitz. Okay.
And it looks like we have a few less people than normal with us not being on Facebook. And I'm trying to correct that, and it doesn't seem that I'm going to be able to without having to stop the broadcast and restart again. And I'm not doing that for a third time. So
there it is. It's mezcal, lime juice, simple syrup, and red wine poured on top.
Wine.
There's that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's why I said Chambord, which is I think like a blackberry liqueur. But yeah. Comes in like this little like round bottle with like gold metal straps around it. You'd know it if you saw it. You've seen it on a million different bar shelves and liquor shelves.
Poured over the spoon to create a distinct layer. That's very fancy. That's like Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
Well, welcome to Gigi's Mixology Lab. What can I say?
How about?
What can I say? Well, I'll tell you what I can say. There's been breaking news that broke today, so I think we're just going to kind of dive into it as we only have 3 candidates. This whole tournament thing might just end up being a 3-way.
Yay! Or maybe it just dies on the vine too.
And you know what? If the only 3 that we came up with were Kate Beckinsale, Margot Robbie, and Zoe Kravitz, I could probably die a happy man with that.
Here we go. Chris Evans gets
okay. So we got a Chris Evans. I wonder what took you so long. Jeez, yeah. Gigi, that should have been first out of the gate there. All right, so we'll move on. We'll keep moving on until we'll at least try to get 8. We'll keep pushing here. But hey, there's a story just today by the New York Times. Check this out. And the accounting firm that handled the business for the Trump organization firmly cut ties with the organization, citing discrepancies and that it could no longer stand by a decade's worth of financial statements and work that it had done for the organization.
Is that a bad thing for Trump? If you were Trump and you were about to be, what's the right word here? Not subpoenaed, but
indicted.
Indicted for financial things, you would think that the accounting firm would be a very important part of that defense, considering they were the ones that were technically handling it all.
Exactly, right? This is the name of the company is Mazars USA, and I'm sure you may or may not have heard about this. But to go back to the article, here we go. The disclosures about Mazars' work for Trump appeared in new court documents filed by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, who is seeking to question the former president and 2 of his adult children under oath as part of her civil investigation. Mr. Trump's lawyers had asked the judge to prohibit the questioning, and in response, Mrs. James' office argued in court papers last month that the company had engaged in fraudulent or misleading practices. Well, what does that mean? Well, everybody does it. It's just a tax thing. That's how they got Al Capone, right? Blah, blah, blah. They gave a really nice example. They gave actually a beautiful example. And here it is as I scroll. According to the filing, Mr. Trump, I guess, actually, to be honest with you, right, claimed that the triplet apartment spanning some 30,000 square feet, he claimed this on his taxes, that his big apartment, 30,000 square feet, given it an eye-popping value of $327 million.
Uh-huh.
In truth, the apartment was just shy of only 11,000 square feet.
So 1/3 the size.
Mr. Trump's long-serving chief financial officer, Alan H. Weisselberg, later acknowledged to investigators that the company had overvalued the apartment by, quote, give or take $200 million, end
Give
quote.
or take. Oh man, no, just 200 million. It may have been. We may have miscalculated by just a smidge, by like I don't know, like $200 million.
And that's just one apartment.
Uh,
That's not all of the other buildings, all of the golf courses, the resorts, all the other business.
yes, he's done it with all of them, to avoid taxes. He has fudged the books on it all. He knows it. The government knows it. Everybody fucking knows it, and he's just gonna do everything he can to slow down and impede and keep this from getting going quickly. That's all it is with him, man. He is just going to drag his feet as long as he possibly can to make sure that he's either dead or, is just able to get out of it somehow. There's some sort of out. Like, if he gets elected president and can pardon himself for some weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's got to be his plan, because otherwise, dude, he's got to know the walls are closing in. This is like the worst possible story for him at this point. To have your accounting firm say, you know what? We're out. Fuck this. We're out. That is like the worst possible. You have to be in full on fucking panic mode if you're Donald Trump at this point.
When the rats are jumping ship, you've got a problem.
And they've been jumping ship from the beginning.
As soon as they were done making money, right? As soon as that revenue stream kind of dried up, right? 10 years of a professional high-end accounting firm not noticing that you may have overvalued your apartment space. They didn't audit. They didn't do their own internal, like, hey, did we send somebody out there to at least give an eyeballs look to see if it wasn't 2/3 less?
That company's got to be panicking too. Like, they knew, they were complicit in it. Like, it couldn't have gotten done without the accounting firm being complicit in the fraud, right? So they're not going to, just by distancing themselves, surely there's some liability that still lies with that company. So yeah, this is not going away, and it'll be interesting to see if it gets so intense and it gets so real that he can't run for president, because he's starting the rallies now. He's starting to rally the troops, if you will, with this idea that he's going to run again. But if this is something that he has to deal with, I don't know that he could deal with this and run for president at the same time. Like, it can't, or would he, or would he? I guess is the question. Maybe his ego would say, I could do this.
Oh, he's a lot. It is. I'm sure there's the ego thing, and that he thinks he can not be charged with anything if he's president, and he can pardon everybody. He's clearly used to and very comfortable throwing out pardons.
Yeah.
And even just the idea
He just recently said he was going to pardon all the January 6th people that have been charged and are being prosecuted.
We're getting some good suggestions. The kissable phase here.
No.
I'm going to scratch my Kate Beckinsale just because I'll step out, because we got some.
We've got
some good ones. I think Grogu is a very
I
out
do
of
like
the
that
box.
one.
Out of the box.
Yeah,
And we're gonna add Grogu.
Babies are kissable. Courtney's right. Babies are kissable. Grogu.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we can't. I think we're at our limit with they're all great suggestions. Trust me, I'm not telling anybody not to.
This without Jason Momoa, would the females allow us to do this without Jason Momoa? Is it universe? Is there a female that isn't insanely attracted to Jason Momoa? That is the question.
So we have just by the stroke of luck, by taking Beckinsale out and replacing her with the male Grogu, we have 4 dudes and 4 ladies.
Okay, fuck it. Let's close voting now. Boom, done.
So the 4 dudes would be Grogu, Chris Evans, Henry Cavill, and Tom Hardy.
Okay, all right.
Now,
that's a stout male group. Yeah.
I would say if you wanted to scratch Grogu and just say, like, okay, that's weird, because even though he's tiny and cute, he's probably 100 years old. and not actually real, I can make a suggestion that we can replace Grogu with Momoa.
I think
80s
replacing Grogu with Momoa is probably a better go of it.
I'll hang on to get the reaction
But
from
let's
everybody.
get the crowd. Let's let the crowd tell us. What do you think? I'm okay with replacing Hardy with Grogu.
Hardy with Grogu.
So then the Momoa still gets in, but Tom Hardy is out.
This is dirtier than the NCAA.
Really. And on the female side, while we're debating that, who have we established as the 4 on the female side of the bracket?
We have Margot Robbie,
Mhm.
Zoe Kravitz, Selma Hayek, which is a true statement, and a second Zoe Saldana.
Okay. All right. I'm cool with that.
ScarJo, you're just not. Oh, those lips too. Yes. But okay, we're closing. We're closing the nomination window.
We've closed the nomination window.
We're closing the nomination.
We're sticking their no, it's closed.
Okay, here's what I'll do.
Stan in. Okay.
Sebastian Stan played Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
If I get somebody else to jump in, I don't know. I think a lot of people like Jason Momoa. I don't know. We'll just move on. We'll just move on really quick. I'll wrap up this story here.
I just got a text from Adrian downstairs. She can't chat, but she wants Momoa in. That she's a big Jason Momoa fan.
Okay.
She's listening. I did see your comment earlier. So
interesting. We're just having one of those.
I have the most kissable face, and she's not lying. I mean, look at it.
What are we supposed to do? We're internet celebrities. It's like the #1 podcast for this demographic that Dan Brooks never listens to. Back to the story.
Huge in the demographic of Ben and Brooks's friends and family.
Huge. The numbers are off the charts, people. Off the charts. The really just to follow up with the Trump story really quick with 2 little notes. The New York State Attorney General would also like to speak with Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka regarding this process and what they knew and everything. So they've got the goods. If they want to talk to you and they want to talk to you under oath, it means they've got you. And they just want you to lie about it so they can for sure get you on at least one thing. But that always leads to something else. So yeah, it is closing in on them. It's going to be a real interesting race this midterm, to be honest with you, right? It's going to be pretty nuts. Once August, September roll around and all those ads and the political vitriol really kicks up, it's going to be a knockdown drag out, bare knuckles kind of fight.
It'll be interesting. The midterm elections are going to be very interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out, and it'll be very interesting to see, like you say, in the run up, how things play out as far as the different attack ads, if you will, go.
So I want to move on to something I thought really cool, and it's X-ray heavy, so it's even more cool for me, and it's right up the alley of Topic Thunder, because what they found are these Herculaneum papyri. They date back to 79 AD, which is when Mount Vesuvius did its thing and destroyed basically a large part of the Mediterranean world. The force in the ash and the chemicals in the air carbonized these papyrus scrolls, and they've just figured out an X-ray technique to see what's on these scrolls, which those are the scrolls. They were so I guess they found 1,800 of these things, right?
Oh, okay.
And way back when, you can see they unrolled one in 1883, and that's what you're looking at right now. So they're like, shit, maybe we shouldn't open them anymore. We'll just try to figure out how to read them without opening them. That's impossible. Until now. They talked to this gentleman who's a physicist who has developed a technique, and most of the story from the Smithsonianmag.com goes on. It's a lot of this gentleman's background, but what they're 2 things that they've done: a CT-like machine, so they get like this 3D all-angle comprehensive scan.
Okay.
And then they're using this software, which this guy has tested with the Dead Sea Scrolls. So he's tested this technique with 2 or 3 different Dead Sea Scrolls. And because of the technology, they're able to kind of lay out, and they can do this with like brain scans and heart scans and vascular. This is not like new in terms of like a concept. It's just new for this application of the concept.
Got it.
But they can literally unroll the papyrus with scans.
And then see the writing on each page?
Yes.
That's
Unfettered direct writing from Greek and Roman scholars. This is to be the only living record we have of antiquity.
That's insane.
And the story actually goes on to say that where they found most of these, again, that we have 1,800 of them right now, they have still yet to kind of go in and excavate another 2 layers of this area where they think there might be another several thousand more of these scrolls.
Wow. So like it must have been like a site where obviously where these records were kept, right, in one place, and it was, crushed under molten lava, basically.
It was a library.
Yeah, right.
And because of the chemicals and all of the carbon that was spewed into the air, it did something to the papyrus. It carbonized it, made it rock, which is why it all flaked out. And you kind of unroll it, it's just basically charcoal. Mm-hmm. But the imprint, the ink used, has a different chemical composition than the papyrus does. So that's what they're looking for in the scan. Yeah, the story's fascinating. Again, SmithsonianMag.com.
Show you that, like, when presented with a problem, smart people figure out ways to overcome that problem, right? I mean, like this, they must have tried all different kinds of things. So they finally found this X-ray way of doing it to be able to read it. I mean, it's just amazing what science is capable of.
Just a lot of knowledge wrapped up. Like we lament like the library of Alexandria being lost, and like that type of we don't have written knowledge. We have other people's filtered and biased versions of ancient knowledge. Bible, for instance, right? That's not the direct original stories as written by the authors. No, same stuff with all these other. This is a direct echo from the past. This is knowledge that we're talking about when we say places like Göbekli Tepe, and this could be information that was passed on from then. That's clearly very important to people. So, who knows what's going to happen here? And we did mention the Bible, right? So why don't we buckle up and head on down to your neck of the nape down there, Ben, just above you, the good people of Oklahoma.
Dude, you know how people in Illinois feel about people from Wisconsin?
Yes.
That's how people from Texas feel about people from Oklahoma, I found. Very similar.
Okay, so they're the hillbilly. Even the hillbillies will call those people the hillbillies.
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, you're kind of right there playing up the stereotype. This is from HuffPost.com, so take that as you will, but it is a legitimate story. The headline: Oklahoma considers database for pregnant people as Roe versus Wade hangs in the balance.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The state government of Oklahoma wants to make a database of pregnant people to make sure you don't get an abortion.
And these same people, if you wanted to to put together a database of, I don't know, gun owners, these people would lose their goddamn minds over it. And in this instance, this is the hypocrisy of conservatives. They can't see their own hypocrisy. And that's what's so frustrating about them, because not all of their ideas are terrible, but it's the hypocrisy that comes out in instances like this where, are you kidding me? A database so you could track people who might get an abortion to punish them for it? But at the same time, you don't want to have a database of people that are gun owners because they might, kill people? The hypocrisy is maddening. Maddening. Oh, I mean, come on. How can they even justify this?
you can't in any kind of logical fashion, because the best analogy is the gun analogy, right? Because if you're a law-abiding citizen, you should be able to register your gun, but we don't have an accurate database, especially a national one, of who's registered to that gun. So it becomes extremely difficult to track some of these things. In addition to like the manufacturer and stopping. Well, we talked about that ad nauseum. We know what the problems with guns are, right? But what's next? A database of what? People who get manicures and pedicures.
People who vote liberal.
That'd be an interesting one, right? Voting patterns up for grabs like that.
Right.
Oh boy.
And then you could, but like, here's the thing, like this type of legislation, this is the stuff there's a very good chance that this kind of shit sticks, because the U.S. Supreme Court is a conservative court. And right now
is an extremely conservative court.
Right? We've already seen abortion is very likely not going to hold up in the Supreme Court the next time it's challenged. We know this. We know this for sure, that this is going to be, and the voting restrictions, we just saw the Supreme Court again judge in favor of gerrymandering, which if you don't know what it is, you got to look it up. It's when they literally redraw districts to make it to their own advantage, because they know what neighborhoods, down to the neighborhoods, that are most likely to vote for them. And they gerrymander and they redraw the districts. You literally, if you ever saw a district map, it's not like they're all squares like you would expect. They're just squared off. And that's not how it works. They're like, they're drawn, like they literally are drawn around houses that they don't suspect will vote for them and keep them out of their district. It's
really quick. Look up Dark Match Snake Plissken's. Look, his district is ridiculous. Is the Dan Crenshaw's voting district is exactly what you're talking about. And let's not mince words here. I'm going to call it what it is. 5 of the justices on the Supreme Court have been backed and put there by a shadow group called the Federalist Society. And if you don't know who or what the Federalist Society is, it's a big, long can of worms, but it is a highly conservative, highly white and influential money-wise organization. This is the type of battle that we're talking about.
See that green? That's a district. That's a voting district, right? And that doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't follow. And I don't want to fuck this thing. I don't know where it came from, but it's fucking with me now. Oh yeah, let's see if we can actually. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh, check it out. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, the Federalist Society is they're the ones that ramrodded Kavanaugh through. They're the ones that made sure Amy Bewitched Cohen, whatever her name, I forgot now, made it on, unequivocally made it on. Who paid off Brett Kavanaugh's gambling debts? Who mysteriously paid off his $200-something thousand mortgage right before he was about to be nominated to get confirmed with the Supreme Federalist Society, backing up Clarence Thomas. And if you don't know who Ginny Thomas is, again, looking it up. There's a lot of influence here, and there's a huge, big, slow game. But speaking of games, while we're kind of tossing about the idea of kissable faces, I think we've kind of got the tournament set up here. So let's just jump right into the first round of voting here. All right, folks.
Oh, perfect. Let's do that.
First round of voting, guerrilla style here for the tournament of kissable faces. We're going to put Jason Momoa versus fellow Justice Leaguer Henry Cavill.
Ooh, Superman versus Aquaman. Who is going on to the next round?
Taking your votes now for Momoa versus Cavill. Kissable face. Who would you want to smooch? Aquaman or Superman? Make your picks now, because we're going to roll into something absolutely crazy. It's a fever dream. If you ever wanted to know what artificial intelligence would come up with if we told it what the Bible described as angels, fed this to the AI and said, come up with a CGI of what you think this would look like. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what the computer came up with. Cavill versus Momoa.
Oh, what is this horrifying creature? This is what AI thinks, because based on what we say about angels.
The Bible. This is very specific to the Bible.
That is trippy, dude. I could watch that on acid and probably have a really good time.
Doesn't that look kind of psychedelic? The geometry.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at this again. Like,
I think Henry Cavill's moving on in this tournament here, and rightfully so. He's a much more handsome man.
A very handsome man.
He's a very wholesome man too.
He's terrifying too. I agree. This last one is what's really fucking trippy. Like, that is fucking weird with all the eyeballs around the rings around the eyeball. Like, that's fucking crazy.
That would, again, somebody's description of what they saw in the sky, or that came to them and spoke to them, or gave them instruction. That's just what the computer, thought. Speaking.
Well, I mean, and honestly, that's based on descriptions. If that's what artificial intelligence is coming up with, then you can imagine whatever that was that these people allegedly saw was pretty fucking terrifying, right? I mean, if that's what these people saw for real, like if that's what an angel really looks like, those fucking eyeball rings. Yeah, I have no interest in ever fucking meeting one.
No, and nor do I ever want to hear one speak, or even hear any bullshit that anybody said that it's some kind of malevolent or understood phenomenon. You can place your faith in it.
Yeah, I won't do that either. No,
because that's what you're doing. It gets me upset, but it's because at the same time, like, that's fucking cool. There's no way that is anything other than an extraterrestrial, or, like you said, Ben, somebody that got a little too close to the burning bush back then and inhaled and sat back and went, whoa. Which, by the way, again, allegory, the burning bush. That's when Moses went, experienced the burning bush, heard a voice, and he climbed a mountain and came down with the 10 Commandments, right? The burning bush, there are several species of flora out there that when dried and burned will produce an ayahuasca effect. Just so you know what's out there on the landscape.
Yeah, I definitely need to do ayahuasca. Yeah.
That would be another field trip. If the world wasn't on fire or about to be on fire, that would be something that I could get behind.
Right, but unfortunately, the world is about to be on fire.
Fuck all. So yeah, let's. I know talking about COVID kind of draws the numbers down a little bit. The metrics and the executives are telling me all the time, like, stop talking about COVID, man. Like, it bums everybody out. I know.
Everybody bumming everybody out, man.
Bumming everybody out. But I did see this, and I thought this was fascinating. Well, related to COVID, not directly related to COVID. This is a Twitter feed of an epidemiologist I've been following for quite some time, Dr. Eric Finkel-Ding. He's been on TV a lot, and he's actually batting an unprecedented batting average when being correct about COVID. And they're finding out that COVID, SARS-CoV-2, can induce HERV-WENV expression in T cells and brain cells of those symptomatic severe COVID. What did you just say, Brooks?
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? You're talking way too big of words.
The human DNA has remnants of ancient viral infections called human endogenous retroviruses. A new study indicates COVID activates one of these or more in your genetics.
Fuck.
And I was like, what? So I'm scrolling down and like, all right, there's a fancy little graphic about this, but again, he focuses more on the COVID aspect of this. When I got to the Medium story that's posted down there, and Ben, that's the next link I sent you, because there's about a 3.5 or so, almost 4-minute video that I think we should watch to find out that just about 8% of our DNA is viruses that have kind of attached themselves for our long haul as a species.
No shit.
8%.
What the fuck?
Oh, and by the way, while we're watching this video, the next round of voting, as Ben loads it up, we're going to put Margot
Viruses are
Robbie versus Selma Hayek in the Tournament of Kissable Faces.
Oh man,
Margot Robbie.
the finals of this whole damn thing. Wow.
There's only 8. That's the beauty of this. We could kind of fire through this and have some fun and be out the door. So Robbie Hayek.
Wow. God.
Robbie Hayek in the second round here
Right.
in the quarterfinals.
We will watch this 3-minute and 48-second video.
amazing molecular machines that are much tinier than even the smallest cells. We often think of viruses, like the flu, chickenpox, or herpes, as external invaders. But viruses are more inherently associated with human life than we often realize. Even after recovering from a viral infection, there will always be a piece of that virus encoded within your DNA. Approximately 8% of the human genome is made up of endogenous retroviruses, which are viral gene sequences that have become a permanent part of the human lineage after they infected our ancient ancestors. And these endogenous retroviruses don't just sit silently in the genome. Their expression has been implicated in diseases like autoimmune disorders and breast cancer. But endogenous retroviruses can also be extremely useful for human survival. For example, they play a very important role as an interface between a pregnant mother and her fetus by regulating placental development and function. It has been suggested that viruses are not only necessary for the existence of placental mammals, but also for the existence of life in general. Professor Louis P. Villarreal, the founding director of the Center for Virus Research at UC Irvine, says it like this: "So powerful and ancient are viruses that I would summarize their role in life as ex virus omnia, from virus everything." Viruses are powerful, ancient, and vital to our existence, but they are extremely simple constructions. They tend to be nothing more than a few pieces: a protein capsid, which is a simplistic and protective shell, a protein called the polymerase, which carries out most of the functions related to replicating the viral genome, and a sequence of nucleotides, either RNA or DNA, that encode for the previously mentioned viral proteins. You can see some of the ways that these viral components can be assembled into a unified whole. Unlike a human genome, a viral genome can be thought of as a self-contained model of the entire viral form. Within its RNA or DNA, a virus contains all of the instructions necessary to create an entirely new body for itself, and to replicate those same instructions. Viruses are so simple that they don't always need their own body to survive. They have rhythms like all living things. We experience these rhythms through cycles of sleep and wakefulness, known as circadian, whereas viral rhythms occur as periods of dormancy between rounds of infection. Viruses don't technically have a body during their dormant phase. They are nothing more than a string of letters in the book of the genome. But as soon as something disturbs their sleep, like a mutation or a new virus invading the host, viruses can awaken and rebuild their physical bodies from a purely genetic form. A biological virus can literally lay dormant in a Word document as a string of A's, T's, C's, and G's. In other words, viruses can exist independently of genetics, solely in the symbolic dimension of evolution. A virus is nothing more than an idea until it finds a host within which it can replicate itself. But despite their ephemerality, viral sequences are clearly important for our lives as humans. In many ways, viruses are eerily reminiscent of the idea of ancient spells, which sit quietly as words in a book until someone utters the mystical syllables and unleashes the magic contained within. Perhaps due to the mysticism of this idea, many scientists and philosophers have a hard time accepting viruses as living things. But whether or not you classify viruses as living entities, they certainly show us that the line between living things and pure information is a lot fuzzier than we often think.
Wow, pretty crazy.
Pretty cool, huh?
It
And
is.
terrifying at the
Yeah,
same
it's
time.
cool and terrifying, which is basically how you could describe this entire show. Because we're always doing one of those two things. We're either showing you something cool, something terrifying, or the combination of the two.
Well, so we were talking about the world being on fire, right? And we're all well aware of the buildup of Russian troops on the border of Ukraine. And you may have seen in the news last week, so I know we took a week off, By the way, Selma Hayek is moving on for sure.
And that's stunning to me, but oh well.
Yes, Selma Hayek moving on. You saw the news maybe when French President Macron went to Russia to speak with Vladimir Putin. There's a couple of very interesting things to note there, that there was no motorcade, there were no formal greeting, there was no Russian ambassador or figurehead at the airport. The French president literally had to walk across the tarmac to get to a car to go there to the Russian embassy or the Kremlin, where they sat across this long, big power struggle table. It was very, very, very Russian and very like, we're more powerful. Very interesting to note out of that meeting. The Russians asked Macron to take one of their DNA COVID tests.
Mm-hmm.
Macron refused because they were worried about the Russians taking his DNA.
I don't. Do you blame him?
This is the level of this is what would that's nuts when you have
No. Would you put it past the Russians to get the DNA of a world leader and manipulate it in some fashion? I mean, of course they would. Absolutely, of course they would.
you could leave that at crime scenes. That might be some weird encryption tool for nuclear weapons.
Who
You have,
fucking knows?
but the prescience of the French to be like, yeah, absolute fucking not. No.
No way, because like you're right. Like, and Russia kind of has played on that for a long time, right? This kind of like, oh hey, just do this thing. Oh hey, we have these girls for you. Enjoy them while you're here. No big deal. Nobody's watching. You just enjoy these girls. Of course they're watching. Like, and they prey on people's willingness to just kind of go along with a suggestion, right? I would also ask for a room with
Yeah, no windows, like first floor.
yes.
First floor.
Yeah.
Let's start the next round of voting here. So we're gonna put Tom Hardy versus Chris Evans. Venom versus Captain America. Tom Hardy versus
On the men's side,
Chris
it's all superheroes.
pretty much. Like, that's the only movies that are being made today, anyway. So that you got all the Marvel, DC, and the Fast and Furious movies. I guess we could throw James Bond in there, but that's the only movies being made. Speaking of Russians, we'll jump off this one, but you'll catch my drift when I say I couldn't pass this story up.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at this.
An exclusive Russian mercenaries. Come on. With spy links increasing presence in Ukraine.
Man,
This was just today.
I've heard this before.
Russian mercenaries, come on, with ties to Moscow spies have increased their presence in Ukraine in recent weeks, stoking fears among some NATO members that Russia could try to engineer a pretext for an invasion. 3 senior Western security sources said. 3, count them, 3. Which is actually a very, very cool and very unexpected and modern technique of holding Putin at bay. And what the Western intelligence agencies have done, they've basically let the information they've gathered known. Like, Putin's probably going to be doing this. UK announced like a couple of weeks back, maybe even a month ago, like, they think they can kind of put like a dummy regime. Through negotiation, they can get a dummy regime into Kyiv. Like, they announced that's highly classified intelligence. They probably had a source on the inside that knew that was one of the end goals of Putin's moves. And not only did they burn that source, right? Because the minute that got out, like, if that person was still around or any remnants of, they were gone. They fell out a window, right? But they put it out there and said, this is what he's going to do next. And he had to go, oh, how'd they know?
Yeah.
So that's one of the really cool weapons that they've actually used. But yeah, stop me if you heard this before. There is and I think we've talked about the Wagner group, which is the Russian military mercenary version, of the Blackwater group.
Right.
The increasing presence of this group that Reuters reached out for comment and they received no reply. But apparently they're out there running this hybrid war. So anytime we see a story here at the desk that has a headline with Russian mercenaries in it, come on, we kind of have to do it. We're compelled by a higher code to get that story out there.
Yes, and shit in the Ukraine is getting real, man. We've been watching it happen step by step for months now. Right here every Monday night, and yeah, we're at the point now where some shit's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Like a line is going to be crossed, and then hands are going to be forced, if you will. It'll be interesting to see exactly how this all plays out because we've said it a million times at this point, but I don't think we foresee a war, a boots on the ground, man on man, tank on tank, airplane on airplane warfare if we're actually going to enter in some sort of warfare with the Russians.
You're absolutely right. There, the powder, it's all set. I guess there's now 130 something thousand troops. They have multiple mobile blood banks all set up. Like it's either the world's biggest bluff or he's going to invade. And we've talked about like he's kind of in a position where he's up against the wall. Like you can't back down now if you're him without some sort of major concession for the West, or taking Kyiv.
Yeah,
that's it.
Right. Like, you've backed yourself in that corner.
And just by the way, I think Chris Evans is going to win that round. I have no problem.
Chris Evans is a very handsome man.
Are you kidding me? I would smooch Henry Cavill before I plant one on Jason Momoa.
Sure. Yeah. Also handsome dude. Yeah.
And for sure. Yeah. Evans over Hardy.
There's a reason that they were made Superman and Captain America, right? Like, just let's be very clear.
And actually, I'm like Ben. I was surprised by the not only the Hayek win, but the Hayek sweep.
Yeah,
nobody voted for Margot Robbie, which I would have thrown something her way. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, so Chris Evans moves on, and now we're gonna have the last of the quarterfinals, the battle of the Zoes. We have Zoe Kravitz versus Zoe Saldana.
Okay.
All right, so Kravitz, Saldana have at it. Topic Thunderdome, the battle of the Zoes. Which is the more kissable face? Google them if you have to. That would probably have to be refreshed with who Zoe Kravitz and what she looks like. But Zoe Saldana and Zoe Kravitz, check it out. We're going to talk about that kind of messy, fun, kind of crazy situation with the truckers that happened to our neighbors in the north and the big.
Okay.
A lot of that discontent was based on a lot of COVID stuff, right? But we know folks are tired. We know folks are being squeezed. And Ben, I know one of your favorite topics is to rail against capitalism at any time.
Any chance.
This led me to this Twitter thread. This lady named Linda Owens, PhD, collected the earnings statements and notable quotes in earnings statements from I think 4 or 5 major U.S. corporations, and I thought like not everybody's bitching about inflation and thanks Brandon, thank you Brandon, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And like somehow like I just want to read you some of these notable.
You're about to really infuriate me, Brooks. You know that, right? I know you did it on purpose, but yes, you're about to infuriate.
It is now the time of the show where I infuriate Ben. Just about the quarter hours when I try to get that going. It's an old radio thing. We're trying to loop you in from the quarter hour to the next hour. You see how that works here?
My blood pressure is already going up.
The company 3M, which makes N95 masks, things crowned on its earnings call that, quote, the team has done a marvelous job in driving price. Price has gone up from 0.1% to 1.4% to 2.6%. The CFO told investors, quote, we see that to be a tailwind.
That's infuriating. That a pandemic happens, the masks that are most effective in fighting that are the price of those have gone up 2.5% during that time. That is called price gouging. That is textbook definition price gouging. No, did I learn that? Did I misunderstand that? when I was taught that.
No, and it wasn't. Also, that this little bit of a business practice caught the eye of President Biden. So Tyson, one of the big four meat monopolies Biden is targeting for price fixing, saw profits nearly double after price hikes of 32% on beef and 20% on chicken, which the CEO attributed to, quote, continued resilience of our multi-protein portfolio, end quote.
No, it's because you could charge more, and so you did. There was an excuse that you could hide under to start inflating prices, and no one would question it. Motherfuckers.
And in its fourth quarter report, Johnson & Johnson revealed its raised prices despite taking in billions from COVID vaccine sales. Its CEO told investors the need for medical care and to, quote, address suffering and death is part of Johnson & Johnson's, quote, optimism and opportunity for its future.
Opportunity. Suffering and death is an opportunity. You motherfuckers. And it's just right out there in the open. In their fucking reports. They're saying this in the open. They're flaunting it in front of all of us. And we're arguing over people getting food stamps? Fuck off when this shit's happening. And we all just let it fucking happen. The meat price thing is infuriating. It is 100% them taking advantage of an opportunity and driving up prices. God damn it.
Has nothing to do with supply chain, has nothing to do with labor. It's pure profit. And
100%.
again, making some money is not a bad thing, but when you put profits in front of people, then it becomes a bad thing. Then it becomes really easy to distance yourself from any sort of humanity in the money making and wage earning process, right?
Right.
They're making money's fine. Making obscene amounts when they're, like you were saying, people are starving, people don't even have a place to live, don't have adequate care of any kind. Probably an issue. That's why we're never going to move on from a type 1 civilization. We're never going to touch type 2 civilization. Yeah, look it up. What's Brooks talking about? Look it up, because we're not going to talk about that we're going to talk about those big fucking trucks that clogged up our neighbors to the north in a protest over the solidarity about COVID restrictions when, thanks to some very ingenious and sneaky friends, we found out it wasn't as innocent as probably we were told, and that's going to be the big here today. So you may have heard. This is just from WBEZ. Protesters blocking roads along the Canadian border may have just hit another roadblock in accessing funds from their supporters. This is the 10th of February is when this kind of started. An Ontario Superior Court of Justice issued an order halting access to funds collected via the Give, Send, Go website. Remember that name, Give, Send, Go. A Canadian outlet reports protesters had raised millions via the Freedom Convoy 2022 and Adopt a Trucker campaigns on the site. But government officials in Ontario asked the court to stop organizers from accessing and doling out those funds, a request that was granted on Thursday. Protesters were initially able to use GoFundMe to garner financial support. You may have remembered this one. And they raised about $7.8 million before GoFundMe put a stop to it for violating its terms and services and opted to refund all donors. That's a big deal for GoFundMe because they probably lost a lot of money doing that.
Yeah, sure.
In a statement explaining its decision, the company said, while initially supported what it believed was a peaceful protest, evidence from authorities showed that the Freedom Convoy had morphed into an occupation involving unlawful activities. So that was the 10th. This story broke yesterday when the company's website, Give, Send, Go, was hacked.
Oh.
And the domain was sent to Give, Send, Gone, bracket, WTF. And the hackers placed a video from the Disney film Frozen on there. And in the scroll, started listing the donors who donated money to the website.
I love
And it,
this message that it has on there. Attention, give, send, go, grifters and patriots.
yes,
The
it's
KG
amazing.
government has informed you that the money you assholes raised to fund an insurrection is frozen.
So they went on to disclose. This is a Vice story that we have there next. Over 92,000 different donors, right? And sure, there's probably moms and pops in there too, but the current top donation was $215,000. There was a software billionaire, Thomas Seibel. He's American. He donated $90,000. Now, when you start putting all these names together, you start tracing where all this money came from, and the fact that I left this story out, and I probably should have because here I am referencing it. This was a tactic used, I believe, in the 70s by the CIA in Bolivia, of all places, to snarl their government, to kind of overthrow it. They literally paid agent provocateurs to set up trucking convoy, we saw blockades. Basically, it was a blockade, right? It was a blockade. So this is a known tactic, and reeks of having some outside agent influence. And I know when they start sifting through those 92,000 names, we're going to start to see a clear picture of that. But the even cooler thing about this is that the citizens of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, got tired of this bullshit, and they went and they surrounded the convoy.
Really? I didn't hear this.
So the news, especially I forget the name of the bridge from like Detroit across the river to Ontario, but there were only 12 trucks that were snarling that, right? I know media likes to, there's hundreds and thousands of protesters. There really weren't. There was just a small number of people that were able to blockade. Then the citizens rolled out and did a phenomenal job of basically cutting off this convoy. And then the Canadian authorities started arresting people, which there was a concern, security concern about the Super Bowl yesterday regarding similar activities. I was scrolling hours and hours before the game, like, oh man, is there something going to go down? Like, there's no way on this day of all days in American, like anything, will they allow something like this to happen? But I didn't hear anything.
I find this whole thing interesting because, you know, back in the last summer, I think it was last summer when the George Floyd protests and whatnot were going on, and there were a lot of protests going on, and people were blocking the streets in protests. I distinctly remember a lot of people saying, "Get out of the street! Those people should be run over. People have places to go. They don't have any right to be blocking the streets and keeping people from going. What if someone had to go to the hospital and they were blocking the street? What would happen then?" Those same people are silent about this protest. Silent. And exactly right. There's a number of different reasons. And the biggest reason of them all is the topic that is being protested. Ultimately, it is a topic that those people agree with. So they don't have a problem. And there is no threat of people bowling over these truckers because they're in semis, right? They're the bigger truck. There is no, you're not going to ram into a bunch of semis with your fucking SUV. You could do that with human beings. Now, if those truckers had any real balls, they'd pull their trucks off to the side and form a fucking human fucking barricade to keep people from going forward. But those pussies won't do that. They won't do that. They won't get out of their trucks. No, they'll use their big bad trucks because likely they're too fat to actually stand up for any period of time because they're truckers.
But we're not stereotyping here at all. No,
go to a truck stop and tell me I'm
Oh
wrong.
no, I trust me. I'm there with you, and we all know
You
the
know what I'm
type.
saying? Like,
No.
they're using the fact that they are in these trucks that can't be moved, and so there is no run them over, fuck them, run them over, because there is no incentive because you can't.
Wow. Did we get a Russian? Is that
Possibly.
Don't click on that. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, if you see that message,
Our
do not
weird
click
YouTube-
on that.
One of our weird YouTube friends there.
So, and that's another thing that's getting out of control now too. Is that apparently when people are mentioning this, they're getting bot swarmed on the old Twitter when they start mentioning a lot of these protests and stuff like that. The Ottawa and
Bring it on,
Ontario.
bots.
Yeah, the bot swarm. Hey, look, if you increase the numbers, I'm sure management upstairs will be really happy about it. So they bring it on, I guess. Just something to keep an eye on. I'm going to follow the story because where that money came from, I'd like to know how much crypto was floating around because it took a little bit to come out, but we know there was a lot of crypto being thrown around right before January 6th and the insurrection. So, which would be a favorite method of paying people by intelligence and hostile foreign agencies, right?
Yeah. And one other side story along this story is you've heard a lot of people. I've heard and read a lot of people really going after Justin Trudeau, and I've personally I thought he's handled this the way I would want one of my leaders to handle this, and calling out this whole thing is based on misinformation, and that we're not going to give in to this misinformation. And people like Joe Rogan are out there comparing him to Hitler because he's saying, no, we're not going to give in to the nonsense. We're not going to give in to the loud asshole at the party who's wants to cause a fucking ruckus over in the fucking corner and ruin the party for everybody. Just because the rest of the party stops that guy from being an asshole and throws him out of the fucking party doesn't make the rest of the party fucking fascists for throwing him out of the fucking party. He's an asshole being an asshole at the party, spreading a bunch of fucking bullshit information around and fucking with everybody to kick him out of the goddamn party. Society is the fucking party, ladies and gentlemen. We're kicking those assholes out of it. And I thought that's the way we should be talking about these motherfuckers. Bring some fucking truth to the table or fucking sit over there. That's what you get to do. You take your bullshit that has been proven if you take 30 fucking seconds to look into any of it. Oh, but Robert Malone was on fucking Joe Rogan, mass fucking psychosis, blah, 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 blah. Fuck off. Fuck off. You don't know what you're talking about. Those people don't know what they're talking about. And Joe Rogan has now even admitted that he was wrong in not presenting the other side of the fucking argument so people can know that those people are full of shit. But when you just present that one side and you give them the biggest stage in the whole fucking world, people are that with their confirmation bias are willing to believe it. It's the same fucking weird psychosis that led to people believing that the election was stolen, going and taking that fucking nonsense, going all the way to fucking charging into the Capitol building with the intent of hanging the vice president on the fucking steps of the Capitol. It's the same fucking nonsense. There's this stupid, obviously bad information to anyone with a brain. These nincompoops fucking take it and fucking make it into this whole fucking thing that we have to fucking deal with on a daily basis. I can imagine the people of Ottawa were fucking furious at those assholes. Like, get the fuck out of our streets. We've got a fucking life to live. Get out of here with your fucking dumb fucking protest. You don't want to get the fucking vaccine? Don't. Well, you can't come fucking here. Get out of here. We don't want you here. Fucking leave.
And anybody upset by that whole thing, like, guess what? You're that asshole that's being asked to be leave the party.
Yeah.
It just you're rooting for the wrong people. Which again, a lot of this is some folks letting us know who they are, right?
Sure.
So hey, we're gonna enter the semifinals, right?
Yes, we have two semifinals.
We've got a doozy here: Henry Cavill versus Selma Hayek.
Ooh, and a
Cavill,
cross-gender battle.
Hayek. Oh, they're both cross-gender, just the way that kind of worked out.
I thought we were going to wait till the finals for that, but I kind of like doing the semifinals intergender, if you will.
Yeah, because we're gonna rip through the lightning round. We'll do the finals. It's just gonna be a one little nice bow on this package we call Topic Thunder. So we have Cavill, Hayek, and we have Evans, Saldana.
Oof.
Chris Evans versus Zoe Saldana.
All right.
And on the other side, Henry Cavill and Selma Hayek. Let the Topic Thunder world know who you're voting for there. I know there's a couple of there, so we're going to go Cavill and Hayek. But while we're waiting for that, I heard some thunder and lightning in the background. We're going to get right to America's #1 segment, still not listened to by my father. A lightning round here on Topic Thunder, where 3 stories enter, 1 gets read, and you, members of the Topic Thunder Dome, get to vote on it. Unlike any other podcast in the history of podcasts, here we go with headline number 1. Hudson Mayor suggests ice fishing could lead to prostitution in ice shanties.
Oh, I actually saw this clip. Very good. It is very hilarious.
Headline number 2. Albany man accused of throwing furniture and hot sauce at a Taco Bell coworker.
Furniture and hot sauce. That reminds me of the Derek Peterson autobiography name, Bob Seger and Hot Dog Water.
Yeah. The Peterson boys have a thing with hot dog water. It's to be known. And headline number 3: police hunt for a healer who hit a nail into a woman's head. As we go through the rounds here, I'll read those. I'm going to take a look as we're counting here. I got to vote for Cavill. I got to vote for here. There's a lot of voting that's going to be going on here, folks. But yeah, headline number 1.
That last headline has popped me. That popped me more than any headline in a month or two.
I think Chris Evans is going to run away with that one. Although I got one for Saldana. There is 1, 2, 3.
Maritime sex work, assless snow pants, ice hookers,
Ice hookers.
fishing hole. Oh, here we go. A hole is a hole. And helping healer.
Healer nails it. Headline, just go through it one more time while we're doing this multifaceted, multi-layered voting
Yeah, we're
here.
asking you guys to do a lot of voting here in a very short period of time. Sorry.
It's the price you pay when you live in a democracy, ladies and gentlemen. Headline number 1. Hudson mayor suggests ice fishing could lead to prostitution in ice shanties. Headline number 2. Albany man accused of throwing hot sauce and furniture at his Taco Bell coworker. And headline number 3. Police hunt for healer who hit nail into woman's head.
I kind of feel like she got what she deserved.
I'm not going to lie, and I'm trying not to be biased.
It feels like it.
There's a
It's
phenomenal,
hard to empathize with that lady. I'm not going to lie.
there's a phenomenal quote in the third headline. I'm just saying, there's a phenomenal quote.
We got on a vote for number 3. Number 1. Courtney's going with number 1. Number 3. And three-way kiss with Hayek and Saldana.
Hello.
I don't blame you there.
I don't blame you there either, but I think we have I don't
We
think
do.
we have enough votes for Cavell and Hayek.
Ooh.
I literally think we're at a tie there.
Ooh, if I
No,
have
never mind. No, we're not. Never mind. Hayek wins. We're literally going to have Chris Evans versus Selma Hayek
whoa.
for the most kissable face.
Wow.
Chris Evans, Mr. Captain America himself, versus everybody's favorite vampire, Selma Hayek, in the most kissable faces finals. So there it is, your vote right there. And while you're voting for that, let's just go through the headlines one more time. Headline number 1, Hudson mayor suggests ice fishing could lead to prostitution in ice shanties. Headline number 2, Albany man accused of throwing furniture and hot sauce at his Taco Bell coworker. And headline number 3, police hunt for healer who hit nail into woman's head.
Number 3 seems to be getting the most votes early on.
I think we're trending on 3 here.
How could you not? I mean, we have to find out what this woman was thinking. Should I have any empathy for her whatsoever? She's really going to have to work at it for me to have any empathy. So, and the votes are pouring in now too in the Kiss Me Faces tournament.
I think we've got 3 for 1. We got a Evans 3, Hayek 1.
Gigi makes a great point. Who
Nope.
hasn't wanted to throw hot sauce at their coworker?
This is true. And furniture.
And yeah, fuck it, and furniture.
So, all right. I think we have a winner here. And I think that's story number 3.
Ding, 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 ding. I think we have a winner on both parts. Well, no.
I think we're entering real close tie territory. So get your votes in. Hayek versus Evans for kissable face. Selma Hayek, Chris Evans, most kissable face, as we read this headline from the BBC out of Pakistan. Hello. A manhunt is underway in Pakistan for a faith healer who allegedly hammered a nail into a pregnant woman's head. The woman arrived at the hospital in Peshawar after trying to extract a 5-centimeter, 2-inch nail with pliers. Initially, she told doctors that she had carried out the act herself, but later admitted a faith healer who had claimed he could guarantee she gave birth to a baby boy was responsible. Police been investigating after x-ray images appeared of the woman. Oh, I got to show these x-rays too because they're damn. Oh, shit. What did I just do? There, hold on. Let me send this to you, Ben, because it's a beautiful, we call that a Caldwell in the x-ray land.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but you see that nail right there?
I can't look at this stuff, dude.
Oh, no, it's just an x-ray. It's not like
Fucking sick.
But staff at the hospital told the local newspaper that the woman had approached a faith healer after hearing about the practice from a neighbor. They added the woman was a mother to 3 daughters and that her husband had threatened to leave her if she gave birth to another girl. That's fucked up in and of itself.
Yeah,
She's 3 months pregnant, and because her husband's fears, she went to a faith healer.
Oh, God, look at that photo. Wow.
That's a beautiful, beautiful x-ray. You got that nice eye sockets there. You got that frontal sinus really well demonstrated.
Look at that.
You got a lead marker there on the left-hand side. That's a beautiful x-ray right there. Well done. So the police are looking for this person. And this is a quote from this is police chief of Peshawar. This is a quote. "We will soon lay our hands on the sorcerer." End quote. That's from Abbas Ashan, police chief of Peshawar.
T-shirt. I want that quote on a t-shirt.
"We will soon lay our hands on the sorcerer."
Oh,
nailed it indeed. So I think we have a winner here.
Do we?
I'm looking.
By the way, real quick while you're tabulating up, funny story
Yeah.
about face about X-rays and skeletal X-rays.
Please.
You know, as you may or may not know, I had facial surgery last year, right? And I had to go in and get the stitches taken out after the surgery. And I have a thing about that already fucking makes my stomach turn a little bit, right? And while they were doing that, he showed me like this 3D scan of my skull and like where the break was and stuff. And I almost passed out. Like it was one of those things where like I was freaking out so hard that I was gripping the sides of the I'm saying bench, but that's probably not the right name for it.
The
Right?
table, like the exam table.
And I'm trying not to show the nurse and the doctor that I am having a full-blown fucking panic attack. And I'm like, just breathe. But I can feel myself going, if you just let yourself, you'll pass out right now. If you don't fight it, you'll pass out. And finally I had to give in and I go, guys, I got to lay down. I think I'm going to pass out. And they were like, oh, okay. Like, and the doctor told me that that's a whole thing. It's a psychological thing. Like when you see your skull in like that 3D image or in like an X-ray image like that, like for me, I have like some sort of disorder where that sends me into like a full-blown fucking panic attack. I've never had a sensation like that before. And it's same thing happened to me. Ironically enough, weirdly enough, I was watching the movie. It was a movie about Vinny Pazienza, the life of Vinny Pazienza, the former boxer, right? They did a movie about his life. And he broke his neck in a car accident. And he had a halo, one of those old school halos, right?
Yep.
And they took the halo out and he didn't have anesthesia when they did it. And so there's a part of the movie where they're showing like them taking these screws out of his skull. And I'm watching the movie at home by myself one day, right? And I no lie, passed out on the fucking couch. Just fucking had a fucking panic attack, passed out on the couch. I was like, I blacked out and fucking passed out because I was like, I can't handle this. Like my stomach can't fucking handle any of that.
Wow. All right. So you're like the second person in my immediate circle that has that same type of thing. Like, but yeah, yeah, I've taken a whole bunch of those X-rays, and I know what Joe just said that we both know a neurosurgeon that has seen plenty of this stuff too. And like, yeah, I don't have this condition, so I can peek in, and I've seen a human brain like just like
Oh god.
yeah. So yeah, that just I guess we can wrap it up there. Because
Yeah, holy shit. On that note, I'm gonna go throw up.
I have big news, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Evans is your 2022 most kissable face. Captain America himself, Ransom, from the phenomenal movie Knives Out. If you haven't seen Knives Out, like check that out. That is so good. If you like an ensemble cast kind of thing,
I do.
that's so good. Everybody in that movie like delivers a role that like, oh wow, okay, that's a reach. I didn't think Don Johnson could be that way, but okay, he sure as shit is. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Topic Thunder for this Valentine's Day 2022. Thanks for coming along on the ride. We hope you had a good time. And if you did, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell them anyway, because odds are probably have a different opinion. And we never know when the Russians are going to show up and jump into the stream too. So it's always a very exciting time here on the USS Rapapa. So thanks to everybody. Check us out. Peace out. Thanks, Biz.